back to The Sims 4, welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to a speed build. We're doing the second of what I'm calling the LA cottages. This was a little idea. There's probably going to be 4 port areas because each house has been its own little build, and then I'm going to do the exterior at some point. But basically the idea was, in Del Sol Valley, the lots are really huge, and it really doesn't feel like within the world the lot should be that huge, so I decided to combine For Rent with Del Sol Valley and make little starter cottages that you could then rent out is the idea. I used about 1 billion packs, I'll be honest with you. So the first one we did was kind of a little bit more contemporary. This one I was thinking cottage core style, and it ended up a lot pinker than I intended it to be, but it just kind of kept getting cute, and I kept being like, well, why not? You can see I'm having a little bit of problems going back and forth here, trying to steal the layout from the first house, because I wanted the layouts to stay the same, because I thought it was kind of cool. If you haven't seen the first house, don't worry about it. You're not gonna like miss things, although you should go check it out because I think it turned out pretty cool. But what I did here is I have 2 lofts. I have a bedroom loft and what I'm calling just the bonus loft space. In this particular house, I believe it turned into an office, although I built this about 3.5-4 weeks ago, so bear with me if I don't remember everything. In the contemporary house, I think it was a hangout space, and then there's a third one coming up that is completely different, and I think, well, it's still pink. But it's a wholly different vibe, so that one should be coming out soon as well. But this one ended up very country, very cottagecore, and I think that's kind of cool that there's the same house with 3 distinct styles coming through. And then we'll have to figure out the exterior when we get there, but I haven't figured it out yet, so oh well. I will say everything in these houses works. It's a little bit fiddly. Like if you move the bed, you will probably lose the ability to use the bed. It's kind of in like one of the only like 2 spaces where it'll work. And the layout is tight. Your Sim's gonna like walk around a little bit to make it work. But that's kind of the point, right? It's just supposed to be cute and little. This is, Del Sol is supposed to be basically LA, and nothing's affordable in LA, so everything's on a postage stamp because it's LA. Not to bash on LA, it's just an incredibly expensive place to live. Pretty much any of the major cities on either coast, you're gonna find cost of living to launch. I used to live in Seattle. Cost of living was insane. I now no longer live in Seattle. Where I live, cost of living still isn't great, but it's better. The only problem is when you move out of a high cost of living place, wherever you work likes to go, hey, we don't have to pay you high cost of living anymore, and you don't get paid very much. And it's a little bit frustrating to be the same, skill level and be told, you live on a farm, so no. Just, there's trade-offs, but I'm pretty happy to not be living in a super high cost of living place. Anyways, back to the build here. I struggled really hard with what to do for the couch because I wanted cute and I wanted cottagecore, but I wanted small. I didn't really want super like fussy, so it took a while. Also, the layout changes a bunch, and this build, I've been having like this weird intermittent issue. I think the receiver on my mouse and keyboard is dying, like the part that actually goes into the computer, because I keep having these intermittent issues where like my keyboard just quits. But I've also been having issues in The Sims where the keyboard inputs just quit. So I can never truly tell what's going on because like today I was playing with an entirely different mouse and keyboard, one that's never had issues in an entirely different port. And like The Sims, I was doing a little bit of building today, and it was like, see, I'm not gonna let you raise and lower things because 9 and 0 just are not inputs I recognize. So through this whole build, it was a fun case of me going, I don't know if my keyboard is acting up, or I don't know if The Sims is acting up. It's really hard to tell sometimes because like I just went through and changed all the batteries, redid the receiver, like compressed aired everything about my mouse and keyboard setup, and it's been working pretty okay, knock on wood. So it's one of those things where I don't know what's going on with The Sims, because I definitely think it's part Sims, because I'm not the only one who's complaining about this either. I've heard some other people complain about like, yeah, my keyboard input just stops. Or like the other day, it was the weirdest thing, because I know it wasn't my keyboard in this particular case. I was building, and I could type in the search bar, like the like search for items bar, like I could find things in the build search bar. I could not enter in the cheats bar. I could hit Control-Shift-C, because I'm on a Windows machine, or it would be Command for a Mac, I believe. But I could hit Control-Shift-C, and the bar would come up, like the cheats bar, but I couldn't type in the cheats bar. What is that? I do not know. I could copy into it, I could paste into it, but I couldn't type into it. The Sims is an odd game, man. The Sims is an odd game. But you'll see that a lot happening in this build, where there was just moments where I was like, okay, well, my keyboard doesn't work, so I guess I'm without, which when playing The Sims, you don't actually really need the keyboard a whole lot. It's nice to have, But there have been times where it's been exceedingly cold and I've been playing in bed and I've gotten away with just hugging the mouse under the comforter, like, I'll be honest with you. But when you're building, it tends to be much more helpful to have the keyboard. There are certain things you can only do with the keyboard, like raising and lowering certain items or entering cheats. I mean, I guess you can do that with copy and paste, but it's preferable to have your keyboard shortcuts. So for them to have a bug where just sometimes the keyboard doesn't work, a little bit interesting. I've also seen that same bug with the mouse. And again, I was having a problem with my mouse and not knowing if it was my mouse or the game. And jury's still out, man. Jury's still out. I definitely know something's going on with my hardware because, like, it's occasionally happened in other games, but, like, it happens the most frequently with The Sims. And, like, sometimes it'll be fine and The Sims is messing up. So I blame The Sims occasionally, but that's why you see things in this video, like, that pillow just sits crooked for, like, a while because Alt was just like, nah, man, not today. And I was like, all right, well, that's fine. I have a build to do, so I'm just gonna set this here. I ended up going with a lot of different pastel colors, and I kind of didn't stick to a huge theme in terms of color other than trying to stay in the pastel range. I went with a lot of pinks and a lot of greens, but I also went with blues and yellows. I didn't really care as long as it was kind of cute, because a lot of what you see with this sort of style is that sort of, like, I don't want to call it like hoarder chic because that's not quite right, but the sort of, like, I picked it because it was cute, but I didn't think about it within the vein of how it was going to fit my house, and things are a little more cluttered and things are a little bit different and mismatched. It's supposed to look like, I think it's supposed to look like a life well lived, you know? And I've talked about this on this channel before, where the idea is, like, it's your place is not an aesthetic, your place is it's like a reflection of your life. And so, like, it should be a little messy and crazy sometimes. And so I was trying to kind of do that with this a little bit, where it was like, this is the vibe is a life well lived. It's a reflection of all this cool little things you've collected over the years and stuff. I was really wanting to use these are the Love Struck tiles. It's a really cool thing they did where they gave us a backsplash, which we've been asking for forever. And let me tell you, the first thing I did was I shoved these suckers into Sims 4 Studio and made a million of them, because this is perfect. They slot together nicely. I'm doing dumb things with them. Let me be so clear. I'm doing dumb things with them because I didn't build the kitchen in a way that, like, made sense. Because of course I didn't, right? But in general, they fit on one block and they slot really nicely together, and they're really pleasant. I wanted to just make them a little bit smaller to make them fit in my predefined space here, but I stuck them in the Sims 4 Studio to give myself some, like, more blank styles, to give myself some more, like, classic styles. I love these. These are the greatest things the Sim team has given us lately, and they've given us a lot of great things lately. They do overlap the windows in this build. That's why I put these little curtains over the top. I think I do something slightly different with the curtains over the stove. They're invisible on the back, so when you're looking at the outside, you don't see them sticking through the window. When you're looking at them in here, you do, which is deeply unfortunate. However, I figured it was okay because I covered it with curtains, so you'd have to, like, really look. And I really wanted to have, like, this cute little backsplash and these sort of bright colors because I loved the idea of, like, finding these tiles at maybe, like, a thrift store or something and falling in love with them, because that's what I did. I don't have them in this room right now, but at the place I lived my senior year of college, the furniture wasn't mine. And I wasn't allowed to bring furniture in except for a pair of nightstands that I sort of snuck in, and a mini fridge. It's fine. And a bookshelf. I snuck a bookshelf in. But for the most part, I wasn't supposed to really bring furniture in. Everything was supposed to be able to, like, move out in a day was the idea. It was a short-term stay. It wasn't a dorm room, but it was kind of dorm room-esque, to be honest with you. And anyways, one of the things that I did is I took all of the knobs off the, like, given to me furniture. I saved them, don't worry, I put them back. I was a good tenant. But I went to different stores and I got different fancy, like, knobs, which was, like, stupid expensive for what it was. Let's be real here. But that's how I made those pieces my own, is I just went and, like, found all these different, like, kind of antique and ornate, like, drawer pulls, right? And so that's kind of what I was imagining with this tile, kind of same vibe, but it was, like, maybe went to a thrift place and found, like, kind of a mismatched set of tiles, or went to the hardware store and found, like, the clearance tiles. So, like, they're all a little bright. Maybe they don't match her aesthetic totally perfectly, but, like, they're cute in her kitchen and they're special to her or him. Whatever Sim lives here. I haven't created Sims to live here yet. That was kind of the vibe. So yeah, they're orange and they're blue and they don't quite match, but I think they look cute and I think they tell a really fun story. And then of course I wanted the curtains to look like they were on an actual rack instead of being on their own. So we used those, I think it's Desert Luxe, right? That sounds right. Desert Luxe curtain rods, which look like shelves. So then of course we had to decorate them, and I think it turned out super cute. I really love this kitchen. I think it's really, really stinking adorable. I really enjoyed it. You can see I was playing with colors, but I was just like, no, but the orange is cute. I do think we end up maybe changing the color of the walls in the kitchen here. You can see changing it back and forth. I can't remember if we stick with that or not. I think we end up maybe going with green in the kitchen. Don't quote me on that. I could be misremembering. I built this, like I said, quite a while ago. I've been trying to make sure that I'm consistently building because it's easier to maintain that spark. I haven't started it yet, but I've been thinking a lot about it's fall officially when I'm doing this voiceover. It is September 24th, which means yesterday was the first day of fall, and I had this inspiration for like a witch's cottage. I'm pretty excited about it. I can see it in my head, and that's the worst thing to do in The Sims because I can see it down to the shrubbery in my head, and I'm like, oh no, that means it's so not gonna turn out. Does anyone else do that where you get like really excited about a build, but you build it in your head first and you're like, I did not build this to Sim specs? I do that sometimes, definitely not sometimes, but I'm really excited to build a witch's cottage and stuff now. And I think a part of it is because I've been trying to be very consistent, even when I don't feel like building or I've had like a long day at work. It's really hard to like set a timer and be like, okay, we're just gonna sit down and we're gonna noodle in The Sims for 15 minutes, and like, even if it sucks, it's fine. You don't have to keep it. You can delete the footage if you want, but like, we're gonna make things, and it's fun. And a lot of people would make fun of that. They're like, why do you need to force yourself to play a game for 15 minutes? And I totally understand that. That's a reasonable question. But my answer to that is this is a form of creativity. I think it's kind of like painting by numbers or maybe a coloring book in that way. You're given a predetermined set of tools here, and you can make something beautiful. There are people with this game who turn into Picassos and turn into Rembrandts and turn into Monets and build absolutely stunning things in this game. And I'm so impressed and blown away and flabbergasted every time they put out something. I'm trying to remember some names off the top of my head, and like, there's a creator on Instagram called Simple Cheeks, and there's a creator on Instagram, I think she has a YouTube channel too, called Kate Emerald and stuff. They just make such stunning pieces of artwork. There's so many. I'm listing just the couple I can think of off the top of my head, but I have an Instagram feed just full of beautiful creators, and I think it's a creative endeavor. Right, that's why they're called creators. But you know, just to say it's a video game and it's nothing to get excited about, I think is a little short-sighted. And I'm very lucky to have friends and family members who agree with me, where they're like, no, Amanda is having her little like art time. She's playing a game, but she's having her little art time. I also, you know, am very lucky to have a support system that thinks painting and stuff is a worthwhile moment to have. So yeah, however you express your creativity, whether it's, you know, traditional mediums like watercolor or acrylic, or whether it's through games like this, or whether you do Blender or sidewalk chalk or sing, play the piano, you know, whatever you do, I definitely think it's very important to have a creative hobby. I didn't for a very long time, and I can tell you I am significantly better a human for having a creative outlet, and I think you should always have an outlet that is opposite your job. So if you work a manual labor job, you should have a sit down quietly kind of hobby as an outlet. If you, like me, spend hours upon hours upon hours looking at code, which I think is also a creative outlet, controversial opinion, when done correctly. If you spend hours and hours and hours, like me, looking at corporate code, you know, I enjoy programming as a hobby as well, but I try to make sure I have at least one offline activity. I think that's very important. And that's an important lesson I'm more or less just learning now at 28. So if you are younger than me, please learn sooner than I did. Do not burn yourself out hardcore and then figure out how to take care of yourself. Please learn to take care of yourself beforehand. Take it from me, big sister advice today. Make sure to take care of yourself. Okay, we're working in the dining room now, and I fell in love with these chairs. I know they're not supposed to be cottagecore. I think they're supposed to give vaguely Latin vibes, I think is what they're supposed to do. However, I fell in love with them. I thought they were so pretty. I fell in love with them. I thought they were so pretty. I thought the hand-painted flowers and the sort of like wicker-looking seat screamed cottagecore to me in this particular instance, so I stuck them in here. And now, I'll be honest with you, I kind of want to hand paint flowers on my dining table. It's not mine, so like obviously I'm not going to. I live with other people, and it's another person's dining set. I have offered to refinish the seats, and they're gonna let me do that because the seats are kind of falling apart. I need to find some fabric, and I have promised to like clear the fabric with them first. But I would not paint the dining set. That's not my dining set. And that would just be rude. Be a good roommate. Don't paint your roommate's stuff. Oh, my Lanta. Oh, I think they would be so mad at me. But it was really cute. And I was like, oh man, I want to do that. That'd be really fun. I also really, like, The Sims has inspired me. I'm on this kick because I spend a lot of time on my porch when I can. I try to work outside occasionally. I try to spend a little bit of time outside each day. It doesn't always happen, and in the wintertime I'm a chicken and it's cold, so. But I try really hard to spend a little bit of time outside each day, and I'm on this kick right now because of The Sims. This is totally The Sims' fault. Because of The Sims, I really want to get outdoor furniture. Like, we have, like, a little, like, your, like, typical dining set, you know, the glass table that, like, breaks every, like, 4 years and you have to replace it, you know, that one. And, like, the chairs with, like, the tie-on cushions and stuff. But, like, I'm now in my head, like, what if we got, like, a couch out there? What if we got, like, a cute, like, outdoor couch out there? Do you know how expensive those are? Holy Moses. One cannot just simply get an outside couch. That one does not simply walk into Lowe's and buy an outside couch. It simply isn't done. So much money. Here you can see I'm doing like a little bit of like an art studio / maybe writing area in the second loft. Actually talking about the build for a minute. Look at me. Again, with pinks and stuff. A very cozy little area. Lots of bookshelves. Meant to be a little bit of a workspace, but like a warm workspace. A space where you would, you know, be comfortable maybe studying for your PhD or even working from home. I've stuck the computer in front of the window. Now, in real life, I'll be honest with you, this is a beautiful idea, but the eye strain would probably be insane if we're being real honest here. I had my computer in front of a window for a while, and it does hurt at the end of the day. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm like askew from the window now. I'm off to the side, and it's still bright in here sometimes. Now I get the reflection, which isn't great. But it's still better than being in front of the window. The trying to stare at a bright screen in front of a bright window, not super ideal. Although it makes for a lovely view. Although if you're me, that also means you get really distracted by your lovely view. So, you know, do with that what you will. Do with that what you will. But yeah, it's really hard to see the screen in front of a window. So in reality, that would probably suck. Although if she's not working from home, if she's working in the evenings, maybe it's not such a problem. I work from home, so that like bright morning sunshine was a killer. Pink sink, got to use the pink sink. Love that pink sink. Wish I could use it more often. Went a little old-timey with the fixtures in here, which is kind of a funny thing to think about, right? Because in theory, this is like a bunch of prefab buildings on a lot, all owned by a single, like landlord. So the idea of the fixtures being fancy at each house, probably not right? Like you'd probably get like your builder's basics. But I think because it's The Sims, we can kind of like chill out about it. Because I was thinking about that with the counters too. I was like, well, really, there wouldn't be different counters in every house, but like, we can suspend our disbelief just a little bit here, right? We can sort of pretend it's fine. Sometimes I stick to that rule where I'm like, okay, builder's basics and all of them, and then it's just the decor. And I think that's a really fun way to build too, like putting those obstacles in yourself, or saying things like, I'm going to renovate this base game home, and I'm going to keep all of the plumbing where it is because it would be really expensive in real life to fix the plumbing. Those are really fun rules to play by, but I don't think you always need to play by them. I don't think it's completely necessary to always play by those rules. That's the joy of it being a video game, is you can decide what you want it to be. I also wanted to point something out. I think I pointed this out in the last video, and I'll probably point it out in the next video, but I want to point it out here too. I am putting the railings on the stairs, and it's got that glitch where the pole doesn't show up. And I did not know what to do with this during pretty much all but the last building here. And by that time I was like, oh shoot, it's gonna mess everything else up. So the fix to this is to raise the foundation up one more spot. Your pole will come back if you raise the foundations up one more. By the time I realized it on this lot, when I went to raise the foundations up, I was having issues with things disappearing and not wanting to save them because, you know, obviously you have to lift all 3 buildings up. So I will fix it before it goes in the gallery, but I don't fix it in any of the videos because I learned it too late. But just know the pole missing on these stairs in the front, the like little spandrel. That's not the right word. Is that the right word? The poles, you know. Those will come back if you just raise the foundation up one more. But it looks like we're looking at screenshots here now. There's not a lot of screenshots because it's a very small build. A very pink cottagecore cute build. I'm in love with that bench on the front porch. I would spend all my time reading there on the front porch. I hope you like this build. It was kind of fun, just a little bit girly and silly. There's one more LA cottage to look at coming up here soon. And then we'll do the exterior at some point. But I hope you're having a great day and you're feeling loved. And if you're not feeling loved, listen, I love you. I'm glad you're here hanging out. You make the world a better place just by being you. I want you to remember to take care of yourself, like I said. Get yourself a hobby. Get yourself something that brings you joy. And I will be talking to you probably next in a Minecraft episode if the pattern holds, and then in another speed build. I've got a lot of good ideas. We'll see if I have time to get them implemented. But I love you all, and I will talk to y'all soon. Okay, bye. Mwah.